Git is awesome, but this tool will massively improve your experience with it right from the CLI. I'm talking about LazyGit, and it's a really nice to use interface, speeding up and enhancing the way that you use Git with a ton of powerful features. It even has great integration with NeoVim. If you've ever tried to do something complex with Git like partial staging or interactive rebasing and thought there must be a better way, well, this is it. So let's check it out. Installing it is as easy as clicking that subscribe button. It can be used basically anywhere, as you can see, including Windows. Since I'm on a Mac, I'm going to be using Homebrew, and it's actually recommended to use the tap version here for frequent updates. I'll paste in that command and let it install. And once it's done, all we need to do is navigate over to a Git repo and type in LazyGit. When it opens, we get a really nice interface where you can see the information about your Git repo at a glance. At the top, we have the status, so what branch you're currently in. Then we have the files, if we had any working files that we need to stage and commit. Then we have our local branches. I just have one at the moment. We have our commits, and we also have our stash. And you can navigate around this using the keyboard. You could use the mouse as well, but if you're using something like LazyGit, I'm sure you're a bit of a keyboard warrior. What's even better is if we go up to local branches, you can navigate through all of these things as well. So if I hit enter here, we get to see all of the commits on the main branch, and then we can even hit enter on these commits and see the individual diff files. It's super useful for navigating around your Git repo and getting a lot of information quickly. But let's see how we do some normal Git operation. To do that, I'll need to go ahead and make some changes to my files, so it would be a good idea to create a new branch. I'll hit escape twice to get back to the main branch view, and then we need to look for the keybind that creates a new branch. You can see we get some suggestions at the bottom, so it's telling us that N is create new branch, but you can also go ahead and hit question mark to open up the full list of key bindings based on which pane you're in. You can then also hit slash here if you want to search as well, so I'm going to type in new branch here, and you can see it shows up. So if I back out of this and then hit N, it's going to ask for the new branch name. I'll call this one type, hit enter, it will create it, and then check it out. You can see as well, if I navigate down to the main branch, all I need to do to check this one out is hit spacebar, and now main is checked out, but we'll go back to type. Now I've gone ahead and made some changes to my files. I'm definitely not claiming credit for something that AI did, but if we want to go ahead and stage and commit these, we can press 2 to go over to the files pane, and you can see we have our diff view. You can use page up and page down to scroll in here, or you can just use the mouse wheel, and then in the files pane here, we can go ahead and see all of the files that have been modified and the folders that they are in as well. If we want to stage an individual file, we can press spacebar and that will stage it. If you want to unstage it, just press spacebar again. And if we want to stage everything, we can just press A and that will stage all. And again, you can just press A again to unstage everything. But if you want to be more specific than that and only stage a specific line or hunk, you can hit enter on one of the files and then use spacebar to stage the individual hunks. So if I hit spacebar here, you can see it goes over into the stage changes. You can then use right and left to navigate to the next hunk, and you can see that we will stage individual changes over here. If you want to go ahead and unstage those, just hit tab to go to the next pane, and you can hit spacebar again to unstage them. Now that we're ready to commit, you can probably guess the keybind. It's going to be C. You can see that in the bottom suggestion there. But if I open up the key bindings here, you can see we can also do W if we want to commit the changes without the pre-commit hook. So you can do some really powerful stuff here with a single keybind. Pressing escape on this though, and then pressing C, you can see it opens up the commit view. Here I can type in the commit summary and then also a commit description. I'll give these changes a summary of adding type to post, and you can see I've added a commit description. Now all we need to do is hit enter, and I'll go ahead and commit those changes. Once that's done, you can see our commit in the commit pane, so I'll press 4 to navigate over to that, and you can see the information about the commit. Now it's showing up as yellow there because that means that this commit isn't on the main branch. It could also show up red if it's not on the upstream branch. So what we need to do next is go ahead and push this branch and that commit. Let's go ahead and find out what the key binding for that will be by pressing question mark. And here you can see some of the powerful things that we can do in this commit pane. We can squash, fix up, reword with editor, edit, start an interactive rebase, all from a single keybind. Let's go ahead and type slash though and search for push. And you can see that push is going to be a capital P. So I exit out of this with escape. We can go ahead and hit capital P, and you can see that it wants me to create the upstream branch as well. So I'm going to give this the name of origin and type and hit enter on that. And you can see that everything has now been pushed up. With that done, just to show off how easy LazyGit makes things, if I just press R here, I can reword the commit. So I could say adding type to post details and just hit enter. And you can see that it says adding type to post details, but it tells us that we have a change from the upstream as well now. So it shows up as red. Now, if I wanted to push this, I could do capital P again, and you can see this time it would need to be a forced push because my branch has now diverged from that remote branch. I'm going to press escape to cancel, as I don't really want to force push anything. So I'm going to need to undo that then. Luckily, I can just reset this branch based on the origin, and LazyGit makes that really easy. All I need to do is press 3 to go up to my branches, then press U to view my upstream options. We can view the divergence from the upstream, view divergence from the base branch, origin main, and a load of other options. I'm going to view the divergence from the upstream. You can see we have my 2 commits here. We have that adding type to post, the original one, and then the reworded commit. All I need to do once I'm over the original commit is just press G, and now I can do a hard reset and hit enter on that. And as you can see, that's hard reset my branch based on the upstream. Now we're ready to merge the type branch into the main one. So I'll check out main by just selecting it and then pressing spacebar. And then I'll go down to type and I'll use capital M to open up the merge menu. Here you can see we can do a regular merge, a squash merge and leave uncommitted, or a squash merge and commit. I'm going to do a squash merge and commit here. And as you can see there, it's squash merge typed down here on the main branch. And you can tell LazyGit just makes all of this super easy. Now let's see how LazyGit handles something a little more interesting, like a merge conflict. I've created a fake one in these branches here. So if I try and merge in type into main by doing capital M, and then I'll select regular merge, you can see it pops up saying we have some conflicts. So I'll hit enter on this to view the conflicts. And if I go down to the types file and press enter, you can see we have the merge conflicts over in this pane here. We can use up and down to go to the individual hunks, and we can use left and right to jump to the next merge conflict. Now, if I want to resolve one of these merge conflicts and select this hunk, all I have to do is press spacebar, or you can select B if you want to pick all hunks. So I'll press spacebar. As you can see, it says all merge conflicts are resolved. Do you want to continue? And I'll hit enter, and there we go. It goes ahead and merges that for me. Super simple. What if I want to do something like squashing multiple commits into one? Well, to do that, I can go to the commits pane and just hold shift and then select the commits that I want to squash. And then I can simply press S. And as you see, it says, are you sure you want to squash the selected commits into the commit below? And I can hit enter, and that does it all for me. We could have also done this with an interactive rebase. All we need to do in the commits pane is press I. And if you want to see this a little bit larger, you can do shift and plus to toggle the view modes. Now, if I press this again, we get this sort of full screen mode. And then in here, we can do simple things like squashing or picking. I'm going to go ahead and abort this rebase. And you can see if I do shift and minus, that toggles backwards in the view modes to get the original one. It's worth noting if you're in a branch that's had some merges and you're in the commit pane and you expand it to that full screen view, you do get a very nice commit graph. I'm going to stop the features there, but trust me, there is loads more. It is so handy for tasks like rebasing, cherry picking, bisecting. Basically anything Git does, LazyGit makes easier. Let me know in the comments what you think. While you're there, subscribe, and as always, see you in the next one.